Sports Meets Life. Appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Appreciate your patience this morning as we get set and ready to go here on this TGIF edition of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And for those of you that grew up when I grew up, and I'm not that old, I'm in my 30s, but for those of you that remember TGIF, big shout out to back in the day when Friday night was that night to rush home, get to see Boy Meets World, Full House, Step by Step, Dinosaurs. What else is on there? Perfect Strangers. A lot of great shows that used to be there on TGIF, and I miss it. I miss it like crazy. So excited to be here with you, excited to be able to spend TGIF with you, be your TGIF show, and hopefully bring you, some of that love that those of you that remember TGIF, I could give you some of that, right? Because we used to watch those shows, and what did we get from them? We got positivity. We got life lessons. We got family. We got friendship. We got love. We got support. We got laughter. So looking to bring all that to you this morning, and I appreciate y'all for being here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We're about to have some fun this morning, and we got a jam-packed show inside of the Cafe Kubal studio. So wherever you are hanging out with us, thank you so much for being with us on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, as well as on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. We appreciate you so very much for hanging out with us where sports meets life, and of course on Facebook.com /LiveNowDT as well. So however you're connected with the show, we thank you so much for being with us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life inside of these Cafe Kubal studios. Like I said, we got a ton of great stuff coming up for you this morning, and I am ecstatic to be able to bring this to you. So we're going to start things off on Wake Up Call this morning, as we always do on a Friday morning, with the annoying moment of the week, AMOW. So we're going to talk about the annoying moment of the week. If you have an annoying moment, send it over to me. I want to hear yours. So what do you have as your annoying moment of the week? Is there something that got on your nerves this week? I'd love to hear it. I'd love to get to know you a little bit better as we learn about your annoying moment of the week. So if you got one, send it, and would love to hear what it is. You never know. We could share it on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. There's always a possibility that you could get a little shout out. So make sure you send those over to us this morning if you got one. And we're going to be doing the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like. So we'll have some fun with that this morning, and that'll be coming up in just a moment here. Then we're going to jump into LEAD, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. That's Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver is the acronym for what we're going to be talking about and what we do here, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, which is LEAD, like I said, the acronym for Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. Today's topic is what makes you smile. So be thinking about that for the next couple minutes before we get into that conversation on what truly makes you smile. So we'll be discussing that, and then we'll get into our Top Dog of the Week announcement. And spoiler alert, it has something to do with the NCAA Tournament Sweet 16. So I got some top dogs of the week. We're going to be talking about them coming up here very soon here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And so that's going to be fun this morning to be able to bring that to you. And then we're going to round out this show. We're going to continue to talk about the NCAA Tournament. That's why the NCAA logo is there. And I do want to shout out Rhody. I want to shout out those Rhody Rams for the women's basketball team. My fantastic and wonderful friend Tammy Reese, the head coach of the Rhode Island Rams inside of the A-10, advanced to the Super 16 for the women's NIT, and their season finished up last night. So I just want to always send my love and my support to Tammy. She's a fantastic person, fantastic friend, fantastic coach and motivator. I love seeing my friends eat. I love seeing them win. So I'm so proud of Tammy, so proud of Rhody. Big shout out to Rhode Island, big shout out to Tammy, and much love. So I know that it's bittersweet, but God bless y'all. I send y'all my love, and I look forward to talking with Tammy soon. So a lot of great stuff coming up. NCAA Tournament, we'll talk about it throughout the show, and then we'll get into my conversation with Bryan Kersey, who's going to be joining me on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So very, very excited to have Bryan join the broadcast here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, the ACC coordinator of men's basketball officiating. Going to be talking about the calls and non-calls of the tournament. We had Mike Kitts on earlier in the week. He got his thoughts, and now we get to see through the eyes of yet another official and have some fun with him. So Bryan Kersey is going to keep it official and join me in just a little bit around 10:15 a.m. Eastern time this morning. So a lot of great stuff coming up, and we're going to start things off with the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street. Let's go.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
You have to be that crazy. I guess so.
The annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like, and it's time for us to have that discussion on the annoying moment of the week. So my annoying moment of the week, folks, listen, life is a beautiful thing, and I appreciate so many different things. So this is not like a bash session by any stretch of the imagination. This is a conversation. And so one of my annoying moments of the week is, I mean, it's got to be the medical bills that we receive, right? Because, you know, how many times do we question, or do we even question, and we just look at it and go, well, we got to pay it. But some of these bills are absolutely positively outrageous, just outrageous. And I got a bill recently. I had to do a copay, and it was the first time I had gone into this office. So I'm doing this copay, whatever. And they're like, yeah, it's going to be $70. And I was like, all right, $70. Like, that's a little steep for a copay, especially when it's under my insurance. But okay, you know, like, I'll pay it because they took my insurance. So I was really confused. So I was like, all right, well, you know, whatever. I got to pay this, but at least it's paid. It's done. They send me another bill, and they're like, or they called me up and they're like, hey, you owe us $90-something. I was like, $90-something? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, no. And I just remember, you know, being on the phone with them this week and, you know, getting this information that, like, I owe them this money. And it's just absolutely asinine and just crazy that it would be $200. And I was talking to them about it because, you know, for those of you that have been listening to the show, I had injured a vocal cord. And, you know, like my jaw and a bunch of different things been going on. So my body's been trying to kind of, you know, heal itself. And it's hard to heal when you're doing all this work and whatnot. So a lot of things, you know, I mean, it's not easy to rehab your body when, especially when it comes to your voice and whatnot, when you're constantly using it. So here I am going, okay, you know, I went to these people. They're going to help me out. It's going to be great. And now I'm sitting here going, like, am I going to go back to these people? Because look at this, $200. $200 for like an initial consultation and minimal work of kind of like, I don't want to say minimal work, but, you know, just basically starting things off, $200. And that's crazy to me. And it's like, oh, well, you know, we billed your insurance and then we thought you met your deductible and we billed it. And by the way, let's talk about health insurance for a second. I know I brought this up before, but okay, if I'm paying you almost $400 a month, my deductible should be little to nothing. With this New York State of Health BS that we have, I'm paying almost $400 a month. My deductible is over $5,000. Now, in the normal world of human beings and actually caring about people, health insurance companies, I am talking to you, in that world, there's either a $5,000 deductible or $400 a month. There's not both. If it's $200 a month, then maybe the deductible is $5,000. If it's $400, then the deductible is $2,500, something like that. So, you know, to me, it's just crazy because normally it's the deductible or the premium, I should say. The premium. I'm calling it the deductible. My apologies on that. The premium $400, and then, you know, getting to that money. So you either pay whatever a month, and then, you know, you pay your deductible. No, I was right. I just confused myself because health insurance is confusing. But $5,000 for my deductible, $400 a month. It's ridiculous. By the way, they charged me too much and they had to reimburse me the money that they charged me. It took them 3 months to figure out how to credit me $86.03. It took them 3 months to figure that out. 3 months. Okay. So, I mean, to me, it's asinine. It's totally asinine. And the price of these bills, $200 to consult me on my voice, $200. Am I Mariah Carey? I mean, it's crazy. So that's one of my annoying moments of the week, is just the price of stuff and ridiculousness of that. And then, beyond that, I would say, I would bring this back, let's run it back. I think, I put up a post yesterday and nobody had a response to it. And maybe that's because there is no response to make to it. But I put up a post about the fact that I said, what's the best part of dating in 2023? And then I wrote, that's not a rhetorical question. I'm genuinely searching for an answer because there is no fun in it. People are crazy. They're nuts. They make no sense. And literally, if people have a good time with you, well, I'm scared of going forward. And if people are super weird, they like you. And it's just, it's so crazy. It is so crazy to date in 2023. I mean, I am a lover of love, and I will always, I don't want to be in love to be in love. I want to find the right person. And I think in the past, I was just trying to be in love. So you try to make everything love, where now I'm actually trying to find the person that gives me that love and not just searching for love. It's so hard. I understand why there was Flavor of Love. I understand why my man Flavor of Flav had to go do a show to find it, and I mean, it's nuts. It is so nuts. And I feel worse for women because I'm 37. So if a woman's 37 years old, she doesn't have kids, and she's dating in today's world, which is psychotic, she's thinking in her head, like, I want to have kids, and I got like a ticking window here. I probably got like a year or two that I could do this. So, the amount of frustration that I feel as a man is probably compounded, and times a million for a woman. And I feel horrible about that, that women have to think about like their time clock and all this stuff. But here's the thing, dating somebody with kids, I don't have a problem with it. Now, I know some of you listening are like, Dan, where are you going with this? Now, but here's the thing. It's personal preference. I don't have a problem dating someone with kids because I love kids. I feel like I'm really good with kids. I've always been that way because I'm a big kid. So I feel like dating somebody that has kids, then, I'm okay with that. But what I'm not okay with is I want to have my own child, at least one. And not because I don't care about your kids, but because I've waited my whole life to try and, have one of my own. And so just because you've had some along the way doesn't mean that I should be cut off from that. And I think when somebody says to you, hey, if we're together, then, you're going to parent me, you're going to parent my kids, you're going to be here with my kids. Okay, well, that's fine. And I'm okay with that. But in that same respect, can we look at me having kids too? Because if I'm going to look after your kids, then what are you going to give me? Where's the compromise? Where's the connection? I want to have kids. You already have kids. If I'm willing to take care of your kids, will you be open to having kids with me? And some women shut down completely. If I tell a woman I want to have kids, whether or not she has kids, that's the end of the conversation. If I tell them I want to have kids, that's the end of the conversation. Now, again, I have no problem dating someone who has kids when it comes to the kids, and getting to know them and being around them, because I love being around kids because I'm a big kid. So I like that. The part I don't like is the baby daddy part. That's the part that I don't like. And Kevin Hart made a joke about it years ago when he said, you were always kind of thinking, when's going to be that day where the baby daddy's in the bushes and runs out and tries to stab me when I'm walking up to the doorstep of my girlfriend. And that's the thing too, is I don't fear any man or woman. I don't fear humanity. I just don't like drama. And So, I mean, I'm comic relief is how I deal with it. But yeah, man, it's so hard. I mean, I'm 37 years old, and you got these women that like these women that are dating you that are telling you what you need. Like one girl's like, oh, I love going out with you, this, that, whatever. But you want to have a baby, so you need to go date a woman who's like 25, 29. But I really like you, but you need to go find somebody else. Anytime a woman tells me, like, you need to go find somebody better than me, that is, I could tell you this, folks, as someone who's been in the game for a long time. If you date anybody who tells you to go find somebody else better than them, get out of that relationship because that person has low self-esteem. That person is warning you of the issues that are to come and you're not listening. So if somebody says to you, you need to leave, you need to go find somebody better than me, I'm trash, I'm garbage. If they start self-imploding, pray for them, walk away. Pray for them, walk away. Don't wish bad on them, walk away. Walk away, walk away. So, and I'm kind of getting to a point here in the annoying moment of the week where I'm good with being single. I'm good with that because it's crazy out there. And that's why it's my annoying moment of the week. And it has been many times because dating in today's world is so wacky. I mean, there are people that have a ton of like just crazy ways about them. And it's nuts. So, I mean, I can honestly tell you that going out there in today's world, it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not exciting to go out and date in today's world by any stretch of the imagination. I applaud everybody who attempts to do it. I really genuinely, I don't enjoy it. It's not fun for me anymore. It's not exciting for me anymore. I get to meet new people every day doing what I do for a living. So people say, oh, you date, nothing good happens out of it. At least you get to meet somebody new. Not these people. So and they're not all bad. They're really not all bad, honestly. There's been some really wonderful people that I've met along the way recently. It's just, it's like, where is the, self-made, strong, knows who she is woman, right? Because they're out there. I know they are. I know you ladies are out there killing it, but I haven't met y'all yet. And, I meet the indecisive, don't know who they are, constantly confused, game playing, want to go back with their ex-boyfriend, never truly make any sense, have no respect for themselves or other people type of women. I don't meet the women out there that are just killing it, right? And I respect that. And I tell people that all the time. They're like, oh, what you do for a living? What do you want a girl to just be on your arm while you go to all these events and this and that? No. I want to go to her events too. I want to be the eye candy some of the time, right? Because I want to be with a woman who knows who she is and knows what she's about. Now, I'm not wishing that we're so busy we don't see each other. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying I want to be with a woman who's out there killing it, doing her thing, who is independently proud of herself and happy, because I don't want to be the only thing that makes her happy. I want her to be happy as who she is in her own skin, because I'm all about that life. I am all about that life. What did Greg say? That baby daddy element got to be interesting to deal with and navigate around. I'm sure it could work in theory. Yeah, in theory. Everything can work in theory, Greg. It's, the 2-3 zone works in theory. So I love that. I love that point, and I'm making a joke off of it, not at you, but at the situation. Anything can work in theory, right? Anything. Anything can work in theory. In theory, I could get a bunch of cardboard, fashion it to my arms, and I could run really fast on a windy day, and potentially fly and feel like I have wings, in theory. Or I could go up in the air temporarily, hit the ground hard. It could not work at all. It could rip off. Or I could fly like 30,000 feet into the air. The wind takes me the right way, and now I'm flying and I don't know how to get down. So, in theory, yes, cardboard wings can work. But and so can dating someone who has a baby daddy. But it's a theory. It's in theory. It's all in situations. And and it's not just me, okay? I have other friends that are out there dating right now. It's not fun. it's just not fun anymore to date, because it's like I've met so many people who can't make up their mind, who can't focus, who are obsessed with social media, who are always on their phone, who have way too many rules, who are too set in their ways, who have a long list of things that men have to meet before they can even talk to them, who, don't want to have kids and this and that. So, I mean, when you meet somebody, like, whatever happened to life being life? Like, I didn't know I was going to move back to Syracuse. When I was living in Florida, I didn't know I was going to move back to Syracuse. If I told God, hey, guess what? Here's my list. This is what's going to happen. You know what I mean? They always say if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. But apparently, a lot of these people that I've dated haven't listened to that reality of, if you want to make the Lord laugh, please tell the Lord your plans. And I'm not sitting here telling God my plans anymore. I'm in the sense of, it's not like I don't have dreams and aspirations and goals. I do. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm not looking at God saying, I got to meet this girl. She got to be 5'2", dark hair, tan. That's not reality, right? Reality is she could be blonde. She could be Mexican. She could be Puerto Rican. She could be African American. She could be Italian. She could be Irish. She could be whatever. Swedish. It doesn't matter, because she's going to be who she's going to be, and that's reality. And, and I've gone through that. I've gone through that in dating, where people have this list. And so I created an insane list to combat the list. And this being the annoying moment of the week, I made this like weird list of things that a woman has to like, or I won't talk to her anymore. One of them is she has to like watermelon, because I feel like people that don't like watermelon are like serial killers. So I'm like, you gotta like watermelon. If you had a choice between Cheese Ritz crackers and peanut butter, you gotta choose peanut butter. I just came up with really dumb things. And because the things I was getting were so dumb, that I'm like, I'm going to hit you with some dumb. Okay, I want you to hear how stupid this list sounds. So I'm going to create my own dumb list and hear what you think about my dumb list. But, it is. And when you hit it off with a woman, it's so flaky. It's like they want to sell you on a product, and then that's it. It's like there was one woman that told me she was on dating apps not to date anybody, but just so people would tell her she's pretty. So when she was having a rough week, she would go on the dating app. She would see how many people told her she was pretty. And once she filled her tank up with ego boosters, she'd get off the app. What a narcissistic, serial killing type of mind. And you know what I mean? It's like, that is out there, right? Tell me I'm pretty. I had one girl tell me that. She goes, tell me I'm pretty. Why can't you just tell me I'm pretty? I was like, well, I do tell you that you're beautiful, but I'm not going to tell you you're pretty on command. That's not how life works. But, it's so hard. And when you think you've gotten somewhere, you haven't gotten anywhere, because people play games now. And it's just not fun. Dating is not fun. I think dating and health insurance, my two annoying moments of the week, I think they're equal, because the health insurance costs me money and I don't know why. And dating costs me money, and I also don't know why. With that being said, we'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora right after this. This has been the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Bring your significant other that is normal and kind and sweet and wonderful. Bring your kids, bring your grandparents, bring your friends, your teammates. Bring your team if you're a coach. Head out to Carvel DeWitt. If you're a CEO, let's do something for the people, right? Let's have a little ice cream. Let's have a little sundae. Let's show some love and appreciation for our employees, right? So head out to Carvel DeWitt today, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York, the longest-standing Carvel franchise in America. My new sundae that I have promised you is coming in April. We have everything ready. The promo is ready. Everything is ready. So within the next 2 weeks, it's going to get real. And I'm very excited, because we've soft opened this thing for a year, and I blame myself, totally my fault, and I will take the blame for that. We're about to bring you the new Sunday. So the Wake Up Call Sunday that's currently there, you could still get it, but the Sunday's changing as of April of 2023. And everything has been put into motion. There's things in the background going on right now to make sure that in April you can come and try it. So just keep your ear to the ground and yourself close to Wake Up Call. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT for the announcement coming up very soon. A lot of great stuff to happen. We're going to take a step aside. Thank you to Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. Don't let any weather fool you. Whatever the season is and whatever's going on, and sometimes in Syracuse we have 3 seasons in a day. Bring yourself to Carvel DeWitt. It's the one thing that stays consistent when our weather doesn't. And so you can enjoy Carvel DeWitt today. We'll be back right after this fast break with Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time, and so thankful to have you here inside of these Cafe Kubal Studios. Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, New York. You can also find them on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location. Let them know the Wake Up Call sent you their way, and of course that's in North Syracuse. You can also find them by going to 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, to their giant behemoth of a brown stripe building, which I call the Welcome Center of Manlius because it is massive. Double-decker cafe, can't miss it. It's where all roads converge into Manlius. So, yeah, Greg coming off of this thing saying, call that an extended tease. Yeah, man, you have all been waiting, and I'm a man of my word. And I said it was coming last year, and I was like, hey, definitely it's going to be coming out. Hey, June. And I put it on me. I put it on me. So we've had it ready. We have a certain mold that we had to order so that we could make something that's never been made at Carvel DeWitt before because they've never had the mold for it. So we've done, like, this is a special Sunday. It is very Central and Upstate New York related. It's very cool. It's very awesome. I think it can be a recruiting tool. I do. And to get people to come be in this wonderful community. So there's a lot of great stuff that's coming up with it. I cannot wait to share it with you. And we will be sharing it very, very soon, as my Sunday will be released in April. And I can tell you that for certain because we have put everything in motion to make sure that that happens. So I'm really, really excited. There's a really cool poster coming to Carvel DeWitt, and I get to get my hands on it first, and I can't wait. I got to design it, and I can't wait to see that. So really looking forward to that. Sunday coming up soon. The annoying moment of the week, probably brought to you by Carvel DeWitt. And the reason why Carvel DeWitt brings you the annoying moment of the week, well, number one, it's our longest standing partner, and it's our longest standing segment on Wake Up Call. On top of that, whatever annoys you, you go to Carvel DeWitt, can't help but smile. The flavors are awesome. The memories you make with a round of Carvel ice cream cake or anything at Carvel, I know my family memories have a lot to do with Carvel, and they're all great, wonderful memories. So I appreciate it. I love it. Families go to Carvel. Generations go to Carvel. And I can't wait to bring my new Sunday to Carvel so that you and your family can go and get it. With that being said, it's time to jump into lead. Learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. Always excited to bring you lead here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We have an opportunity today to speak on a very special thing that may sound very easy to people, and sometimes it's not. So I asked you to think about it yesterday when I posted it, so you could be ready today. The topic for LEAD, which is the acronym Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay in our faith-based show and faith-based segment and positivity all around, is what makes you smile? That's today's topic. What makes you smile? I want to know. And I am so honored and privileged to be able to bring this topic to you, because sometimes it's been hard for me to smile. It's been hard for a lot of us to smile. Over the last couple of years, I can understand that it's maybe been really difficult to smile. So, what makes you smile? Think about it. Think about it. What in your life is so wonderful that you take a step back and say, wow, I smile. I smile. Right? Is it that friendship? Right? Oh, Dan, I've been best friends with this person for my whole life. We've been best friends for 50 years. We get lunch every Thursday. We go get lunch every Thursday. Every Monday morning, we go get breakfast. We go out to Mother's Cupboard every Monday morning for 50 years, and we get breakfast. And that makes me smile. Is it something like that? Is it, Dan, my kids, the day I adopted my child, there's a lot of adoption in my family. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing, because without it, I don't have these incredible people in my family. And so I want to thank the work of everybody in my family that did this, because adoption is not an easy thing to do. I don't know if people know a lot about it, but it's not an easy thing to do. And there's people that, you see it in movies where people like waiting for months or waiting for years or whatever, but it's not an easy thing to do. It's very hard. You got to wrap your head around it. You got to wrap your head around, hey, someday they might want to meet their birth parents. Are the birth parents open to that? Am I open to that? Am I okay with that? What if they come from another country? Am I willing to go over there with them? Do they want to go by themselves? So, there's a lot that goes into it. And, so maybe it's that. Maybe it's the day that, your adoption went through and you got that message. For me, one of my moments that makes me smile, that I can literally dial up and describe to you the entire encounter. I remember everything from this day. It's the day I got Lily. The day I got my daughter, my baby, my child, my love. The day I got her, I remember that so easily. I remember the drive. I remember the phone. I remember looking up the place, to the phone call, to the drive, to the rain, to getting in there, to walking into a room with like 40 dogs, and most of them are barking, to me saying, look for the ones that aren't barking. And I don't know what made me think that. And I found 8. And then I found her. And she looked at me. And she grabbed onto the cage and she pulled her face forward. And I picked her up and she licked my neck. And I held her. And then I played with her in the playpen. And then I went to put her down in the playpen with the person I was with at the time. And I was almost completely out of the playpen. I picked my leg up and I put my foot down. And as soon as she saw me 100% out of the playpen, she started crying like crazy. And I remember the whole drive home. I remember naming her and her looking up at me because she chose her name, Lily. I remember her holding on to me the whole ride home and hugging me. I remember that whole day. I will never forget that entire day. And it brings tears in my eyes because she is my daughter. She is my daughter. And I'm not going to fight people on that. I don't care if you understand it. I don't care if you think I'm crazy. Lily is a dog. I am a human. And she is my baby. She's my daughter. And that's a moment that makes me smile. Every day I see her makes me smile. What else makes me smile? God's humor. God is very funny. And I don't think people always know that. So I would say to look a little deeper. What else makes me smile? Doing what I love and loving what I do. I knew I was going to be up until 1 o'clock this morning doing interviews with the NCAA Tournament. And I am happy as a freaking clam. I've been going to bed late for God knows how many years. But for the last 4 weeks, I'm like, you know what? I should get to bed a little bit earlier. I'm not feeling 100%. I've gone to bed at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Last week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, with games from noon to past midnight, I was up every day to the last game, doing interviews, everything. Last night, Gonzaga came back and beat UCLA, as only Gonzaga does. And it was such an incredible night. And I stayed up. And I interviewed the guys. I interviewed head coach Mark Few again. And it's one of the greatest treasures of my life. And that's the thing. No matter how sick I am, tired I am, whatever I am, I love being awake when I'm doing what I love and I love what I do. And when you find something that you have such a passion for that you would literally crawl to the microphone to do it or whatever it may be that you love to do, it's like, yeah, my throat needs rest. My vocal cords need rest. I need rest in general. My doctor literally prescribed to me that I go on vacation. That's what he wants me to do. And rest my voice and literally do nothing. Which I will do soon. But, I'll take a break for myself. I don't know if I could do nothing, but I will take a break. And of everything that's gone on, of all of the symptoms and stuff that's bothered me and frustrated me, I was ecstatic yesterday to do my show in the morning, then to do a show with Jason Leone at Mother's Cupboard. Don't miss it. We talk about Tobin Anderson from FDU, who's now at Iona, who led the 16-seeded Knights to get a victory over number 1 Purdue. And it's only the second time in 152 games that a 16 seed beat a 1 seed. The other time it happened was UMBC of the America East taking down Virginia, who was the number 1 overall seed at the time. So we did a show about Tobin Anderson and his friendship with Tobin. He was in Tobin's wedding. Tobin was in his wedding, speaking of Jason Leone. Tobin watched his games this year, and we talk about how he called 3 people before his game in the Sweet 16 against the number 1 overall reigning champion seed Randolph-Macon this season. And he called John Beeline, Adam Stockwell, and Tobin Anderson. And so that's a conversation for the ages. You don't want to miss it. So if you haven't seen it, go to facebook.com/wakeupcalldt or youtube.com wake up call DT. Make sure to click subscribe, and you'll see that awesome, awesome conversation with Jason Leone at Mother's Cupboard, where I had my own sandwich, the Cuse McMother, which I got there that day and had to be very patient about finishing it because I got so into our conversation. But definitely check it out. So yeah, the things that make me smile, there's so many things. Greg said I might know a little about this topic. It's certainly not an easy journey, but an incredibly rewarding one. And, Greg, I said it with you in mind too, because I know that you've adopted, and I can just tell from the pictures and the comments and the thoughts that you love your baby. And when you love your baby girl, your baby boy, anybody out there, it's a beautiful thing. I'm 37 years old, and my dad does things that make me want to cry when I'm like, I know he loves his boy. And my mom, my mom, I am 37 years old. I'm a grown man. I pay all my own bills. I make my money. I have a house. I have credit. I have a car. I have a dog, a life that I have to take care of outside of my own. I got a lot of responsibilities. And at the same time, my mom always keeps my kid's spirit afloat. And, it's like when you have parents that just love up their kids, it's such a beautiful thing. So, I mean, that should make you smile. I know your kid might drive you nuts sometimes. I get it. I get it. I understand there might be moments here and there where you're like, oh man, that was so stressful. But, take it from a person who has Lily, and I love her so very much. And I want to have Lily and a baby with the right person. So, with the right person. Because if I had a baby in the past, wouldn't have been the right situation. But, to have that, and I told Lily, if Lily is the only child that I ever have, then I'm overblessed. And I want God to know that. I ask God all the time for Lily to live 100 in human years, because I can't picture life without her. I really can't. And that's why I say she's my kid, because I think about her, worry about her. It's all the same. It's all the same as I hear a parent talk about their child. I know there's some differences. I understand there's things that are not the same between animals and kids, but there are certain things that are the same. And love, and how love is shown, and how love is displayed, and how love is just... Love is such a beautiful thing that an animal and a human being can show you what it is, and you know it. Like, Lily can show me that she loves me, and I know it. And that's, and I think that's even more incredible, because, most human beings on this planet use their voice to, express love, right? And she's not out here talking to me, but I hear her. And that to me is a beautiful thing, and if you know love, then when it's come from something, whoever it's come from. When you know what love is, then you really genuinely, you feel it, you see it, you understand it, you know it, no matter where it comes from. And the love that I get from Lily is so real, it is so genuine, it is so beautiful, it is so kind, that, it's undeniable. And so, I mean, that, my love for her brings me a lot of peace, it brings me a lot of happiness, it brings me a lot of goodness. And, I think human beings should be more like Lily, in a lot of ways, because her love is not like their love. It's genuine, it's real, it's consistent, it's unconditional, it's kind, it's respectful, it's open, it's so unique. It's so unique. And, to know a love like that is to know love. And I can tell you that Lily, my dog, and my grandmother, my G-Mama, their love very similar. How they love, very similar. And how they show, that love without words very similar. And I'm entirely blessed and entirely grateful. Another thing that makes me smile, I would say, has been, the journey of doing what I do for, I had mentioned it, but, my career. My career really does make me smile. And, and the people that I get to meet more so. I don't want to say more so, but the people that I get to meet, that makes me smile. Because last night I had the absolute honor of being around the girls bowling team at Baldwinsville. And they just won a state title, first ever state title in the history of boys or girls bowling at Baldwinsville. It's the first time that the Bees have ever won a state title in bowling. Incredible. And so we were doing our show, and I was sitting with Lizzie Hildreth right next to me, and awesome people that came on the show, by the way. Gary Peterson, the head coach, fantastic. Big shout out to Gary. Big shout out to the twins, Jenna and Julia Speech, spelled Speich, so make sure you spell it right. And because I remember when I was typing it in, they're like, you spelled it right. I'm like, well, that was Coach, because, Coach got it already. But so to Jenna and Julia and to their family, got to meet their parents and got to talk with Dad for a little bit, which was really nice. And then Lizzie Hildreth, and then to talk with the sisters, Sam and Maddie Haas. Really awesome conversation with the ladies, and has me thinking about doing a little segment of my show called, What's the Hassle? And have the two of them together, because their chemistry and their like back and forth conversation is like it is tangible in the air, and it's just really great. I mean, it's I don't think they understand how entertaining and awesome it like their interaction is really cool and fun, and I loved it yesterday. And so I was talking with Lizzie, and Lizzie said, as a lot of them said, our parents, our grandparents got us into the game. And I'm so moved by that, because I love my parents and I love my grandparents. And then Lizzie said, my grandfather, who's sitting right there, and I looked in front of me and he's sitting at the table. She said, my grandfather got me into it, around 4 or 5 years old. And, I said, well, what's Grandpa's name? She said, David. And I said, all right, shout out to David. We clapped up David, as he deserves. And, I told her last night, I said, I want you to kiss and hug your grandparents. Kiss and hug David, your grandpa, and all your grandparents. Kiss and hug them over and over and over again. And then when you leave the house, I want you to run back in. You don't have to say any words. Run back in the house, give them another kiss, give them another hug, just because you're never going to regret it. And you're never going to look back and say, oh, I gave him too many kisses and hugs. You can never give him enough. And then David came up and talked to me after the show. And that made me smile. And Lizzie made me smile with that story. And, so, and thinking about my grandparents makes me smile, and picturing my grandma, because I know she's with me. And I know she's with my mom, and, she's with my Aunt Donna, and she's with Nico and Miguel, and she's with us all. She's with Lily, and she's with Leo, my aunt's dog. And so I know that, she's sitting in my passenger seat, and I see her when I'm driving, and that makes me smile. And certain songs, when they come on, make me smile. So, there's a lot of things in my life that make me smile, that make me sit back and reflect, and, having that red Mustang, and every game I got out of at the ACC tournament down in Greensboro, I was excited to get in that car and drive around and, have some fun with a vehicle totally different than anything I've ever owned. And that made me smile, and not in a materialistic way, just in a, I get to experience this, something different, something that I haven't experienced before. So that made me smile, and so I think today is a great day, best day ever, for you to tell me what makes you smile and why it makes you smile. What is it? Is it your kids? Is it your job? Is it your significant other? Is it your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, your grandparents? What makes you smile? I'd love to know. Because the beauty of this world is to find the beauty in this world. I'll say that again. The beauty of this world is to find the beauty in this world. That's the beauty of this world, is to find it. Because when you find the beauty, when you see through the cracks and through the stress and through the pain and through the confusion and through the strife, when you find the beauty, then you get it. And when you get it, you really get it. It changes everything. And when you find the beauty, don't be somebody who doesn't share it. Help other people find it. We're all on a journey. And trust me, we all got to find the beauty ourselves. I get that. But there's people that can help us by pointing it out, showing us the way. The world is a beautiful place. It might seem crazy, as I talked about in the last segment. It might seem unfair. It might seem completely and utterly wrong at times. But there is beauty in this world. So when you find it, when you realize it, hold on to it. Because life is, in my opinion, about finding the beauty. It's about finding the goodness. It's about looking beyond the veil and seeing that it's not, I guess the best way to put it is, when you look for beauty and you realize that it is through your eyes and not necessarily what it is, when you can find beauty in a flower that hasn't bloomed yet, when you can find beauty in a flower that looks like it's dead, when you can find beauty in the thorns around the flower, you realize that it's never been about finding the beauty, but it's been in training your eye to see the beauty, even when others don't see it. So go out and smile. And find that beauty. Because a well-trained eye can see the good in anything. Even the hardest things. A well-trained eye will see the beauty. And in that sense, that person, that being, is not spending their whole life searching, because they can find it anywhere. That's when happiness comes from within. So why do I smile? Because I'm happy. Because I joke about a lot of things, and yeah, there's things that frustrate me, but I don't yell in my car when somebody drives poorly as much anymore. I don't get mad when a relationship doesn't work out like I used to. I don't chase when somebody's playing cat and mouse on phone calls. I respect myself as a business person to not take some type of disrespectful money or chase somebody in a conversation. And I tell people when they say something asinine, I'll make a joke about it, but I put it in there. You know, I had somebody say to me that their line of business, they didn't know if sports fans connected with their line of business. And I wrote them back a true statement, a firm and clear statement, but it was comedic. And it was my way of going, do sports fans not eat? Because the last time I checked, we all eat. We all got birthdays and anniversaries and whatnot. I think we celebrate them. So it was my way of saying, if you don't want to work with me, say that. But don't give me some ridiculous notion that is not true and would never be true. You know? So, I mean, I'm totally fine sticking up for myself. But what I was saying was, I don't get the crazy screaming in the car. I don't get the, oh my God, baby, come back. I don't get the, I need to chase your business and your business needs to know. I don't get the, I'm going to change everybody's mind on social media. I'm not like that anymore. And you know what? I'm more peaceful. I'm happier. I'm more calm. And I enjoy my life more. Because the moment that you realize that your life is not about the opinions of other people, and your life is not about pleasing anybody but God, that's when life gets better. That's when you start hearing your own music and having your own day away from everybody else. I can literally go back to a moment that I had recently, this week, where I felt like I came out of a place I was at, and I was standing outside. I was just walking outside, and it was me and God having a conversation, and I didn't see anybody. I didn't hear anybody. I didn't know anything that was going on. It was just God and I just hanging out like the whole world was mine, because I was focused on the right thing. Cheers to doing that every day. Go out there and smile. Be good to yourself and be good to other people. We'll take a step aside. This has been Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. Faith-based and positive segment coming from the faith-based positive people at Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay right here in our community, supporting, loving, empowering, and uplifting our community in a way that only Jimmer Sikowski and his team can. Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. Make sure you go out to Chick-fil-A Cicero on 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, New York, and Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. So make sure you come out to both these wonderful places right off the highway. Very easy to get to. One in Liverpool, and because you know Liverpool and Clay are kind of like the same thing. So Chick-fil-A Clay, 3974 Route 31 in Liverpool, and Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, New York. We look forward to seeing you out at both. We'll take a step aside and come back with the Top Dog of the Week announcement right after this. It does have to do with the NCAA Tournament, just so y'all know. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Kampground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and Kampground spelled with a K.com. K9Kampground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K9 Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. This is a special message from 317 at Montgomery restaurant owner Joel Carpenter. Open Tuesday through Saturday for your dining pleasure on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York.
We wanted to be a part of the resurgence of Syracuse. We saw a lot of money being put into bringing people back downtown and thought that, we'd like to be a part of that. I love putting together a good dish where people see it first, they fall in love with it, and then it tastes just as good as it looks. We want to provide the best food in Syracuse that we possibly can, and we want you to leave here talking to your family, your friends about what you had to eat first and foremost, but also our service, and to walk out feeling like you're part of our family. I work out in the front of the house a lot, and I love walking to every single table, asking them how everything is, and people looking at me and smiling and saying, this is the most amazing short rib I've ever had. This is the most amazing filet I've ever had. And Donna is great. Sarah's amazing. Thank you for coming over and talking to us. And them just being truly happy for the experience that they've gotten.
317 at Montgomery Restaurant, part of the fabric of downtown Syracuse, located on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday for a unique and memorable dining experience. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. There has been some incredible moments in the NCAA tournament thus far, the Division I men's basketball tournament. There has been some wonderful moments, but last night there were some moments that we just can't help but love on, and they have become my top dogs of the week. And so, folks, it is my pleasure, it is my honor, it is my tribute to these wonderful gentlemen that this is the top dog of the week segment, where I can proudly bring to you our top dogs of the week. Top dogs of the week for this. I mean, folks, listen. This was such a wonderful night of basketball. Such a great night of basketball. And the Gonzaga Bulldogs, who I predicted to be in the Final Four this year, have continued to impress, make these comebacks, and do some amazing things. And one of my top dogs of the week has to go to the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And so from one dog to another, right? Top dog of the week, Lily's Voice, brought to you by K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding. It makes perfect sense that our top dog of the week would have to do with some dogs, and we got some. So I am so very proud and so very grateful to the Gonzaga Bulldogs for giving us an incredible March. Julian Strother, this is the play. And I want to thank the NCAA, CBS, TNT, TBS, and True TV who brought this audio to us.
Because you've also dominated the offensive glass, chances are you'll get more than one opportunity. Walker for the lead. I mean, he's on the ass in March Madness. That is a long shot. He took it from Reno, and he cashed in. Turn the corner. He's a great three-point shooter, but from there...
The Gonzaga Bulldogs, Julian Strother, to hit that shot, that big-time shot, the setup, the play. They ran a play, folks. They ran a play. You know, for Syracuse fans that are excited about that, hopefully being in their history, the Gonzaga Bulldogs ran a play. And the play that they ran was coming down the court, right? Dribble, set it up, got the guy tailing behind you, dish it, kind of just set him up there, dish him the ball, let him fire away. He took a deep three, Julian Strother did. What an incredible moment. And this game, such an amazing game. And I had the opportunity to speak with Julian after the game, Malachi as well as Drew Timme, and I'm so grateful that they allowed me the opportunity to do that. So I want to thank the NCAA. I want to thank the tournament in and of itself. I want to thank Mark Few and Gonzaga University for this moment for me to be able to speak with a team that I've respected for many, many years across many places, from high school to college to now. Been a fan of the Gonzaga Bulldogs and have loved watching their history, love seeing them create history, love what they're doing this year. I have believed. So Drew Timme said, nobody believed in us. Not true. I get your sentiment, and I fully understand it, and I say things like that all the time because I get where you're coming from. But Drew Timme, I've believed in you. I believed in you. And my bracket is proof of that. So I'm very excited for this team. And, I mean, it wasn't just Julian in this game, right? There was a lot of things that happened in this game. But wow, what an incredible game. What an incredible night. And, I mean, it's because, and again, I mean, they were down by double digits. They were down by more than 10. And I'm sitting here going, yeah, but it's Gonzaga, Dan. It's Gonzaga, Dan, you know, and I just kept reminding myself it's Gonzaga. And I'm watching the other game, and then at some points I'm watching picture-in-picture. Shout out to YouTube TV for making it possible. But I'm watching it, right? And I see it, and I'm watching both of these games, and I kind of, you know, like I'm tuned in, and I'm locked into the Tennessee FAU game. Shout out to FAU. And so I'm watching the FAU game, but I'm keeping my eye on the score for the Gonzaga game. And I'm like, oh, okay, they've cut it to, 14. Oh, okay, now they've cut it to 10. And then it was like, and then you'd look up and you're like, oh, okay, it's 1. And then I was like, you know what, let me get this game on. Let me put these games on together. And it was insane to see Gonzaga with 10 minutes left to go, just what they've done and what they did in the game before against TCU and what they've done this season. Just, I mean, they are the comeback kings, and they've done some really amazing things, and it's been amazing to watch it. It's been stupendous. I don't want to use the same word twice, so it's been stupendous to watch it. Big shout out to our top dogs of the week. My other top dogs of the week have to do with the tournament as well, so let's jump right into my other top dogs of the week as we get ready for Bryan Kersey. So my other top dogs of the week that I got to give a shout out to and give some love to, that I'm so happy. I gotta give it up to UConn and Dan Hurley. What they've done has been no short of incredible, and so I have to say big time shout out to Dan Hurley and the crew. UConn, this is his 5th season there. They've gone through the COVID. time together and had to navigate through all that as many coaches did. He did it early on in his career with UConn. They made it to the tournament. They've gotten bumped out of the tournament. Now they're one step away from the Final Four. Awesome work. They blew out Arkansas, who took down the reigning national champion. So that's got to tell you something. Arkansas beats the reigning national champion Kansas Jayhawks, who are the third 1 seed in this tournament. They beat them, and then they get blown out by UConn, which I thought UConn was a better team, and UConn obviously showcased that. To take nothing away from Arkansas, just head-to-head, I thought UConn was a better team. And so seeing that, they're top dogs of the week. FAU, from never winning an NCAA tournament game. Think about this, folks. They've only been to the NCAA tournament. They became a Division I team at Florida Atlantic University. They started competing with the opportunity to go to the NCAA tournament in the 90s. They haven't been around since the 40s or the 50s or the 60s. They came around in the 90s, right before the 21st century. They become a Division I team and an opportunity to go. They've only been to the tournament twice, this being the second time this year. So they've only been to the tournament twice, FAU has. They get to the tournament, never won an NCAA tournament game. Check, done off the list. Never made it to the Sweet 16. Check, done off the list. Never made it to the Elite Eight. Check, done off the list. FAU is a danger zone, and there's nobody in the country that's won as many games as they have. They've won 34 games. They're 34-3 right now. If Houston wins today, then Houston will tie them. But right now, Florida Atlantic, 34 wins. I don't care what conference you play in. It is really hard to do, especially with teams that see every single season. Dusty May is doing an incredible job, and FAU said it. They said, you can't doubt us no more. We're here. We ain't going nowhere. You can't doubt us anymore. I mean, I guess people still can, but they're saying, listen, look at what we've done. Look at who we have taken down. Now, the Memphis game is a really questionable call, which is not FAU's fault. That was a really questionable call about the timeout, but they still had to make the layup and draw up the play and do an amazing out-of-bounds play and then go to the basket and just, be on their P's and Q's for everything. So FAU wins that game over Memphis. It's a really good team that doesn't get the respect that they deserve. And then, so to see FAU win that game. Then they take down FDU, and we know Fairleigh Dickinson was fighting like crazy under Tobin Anderson, and they were in a couple possessions, and that game was close. And, FAU's got to make their free throws. They got to do the things they need to do to get to the end of that game, and then they take down the SEC in Tennessee. Big ups to FAU. And then my other top dog of the week that I got to give it up to, so I got to give one more thing here. This gentleman set an NCAA tournament record for most assists in a game. He is the same height as me, so shout out to all the coaches that said 5'8" players can't play basketball at a high level. Shout out to all of you guys who were 1,000,000,000% wrong. Marquise Noel, wow. 19 assists, including, and I was listening to it because I was on the way home from Pizza Man last night. I'm listening to the game, and that final assist comes from an inbound play. I literally thought to myself, he's got 18 assists, which ties the record. And I thought to myself, he's on the inbound pass. I said, watch him get his 19th assist on the inbound pass. Sure enough, passes it in on the inbound pass. He gets the assist. 19 assists. Man played out of his mind. A New York City guy in New York City in the Garden doing what he did. Nuts. Running and saying, this is my city. God, that had to be an incredible moment for him. So big ups to all of my top dogs of the week who come from every single game that was played last night. You deserve to be the top dogs. So much love to you. What did Greg say? Shout out to YouTube TV for a quality TV streaming product, but I do find it oddly convenient that they raise rates by $9 per month on the day the NCAA basketball tournament starts. But we are getting the great multi-game feature. Minimal to no college offers out of high school. Yeah, talking about Marquise Noel. So, I mean, listen, that's why I don't do star systems on my website, because there ain't no such thing as a star system, okay? It's about talent. It's about talent. It's about fight. It's about grit. It's about God-given talent and what you do with it. So, Marquise Noel, woo, 5'8". Say what? 5'8" people out there. Shout out to my 5'8ers doing their thing. I love it. Maurice Jones-Drew, also 5'8". I'm a hair taller than him. We were face to face. because I used to interview him when he was at Jacksonville. But so much fun, so incredible. Marquise Noel, you put the world on your back. I picked K-State. Yes, now listen, my bracket had Gonzaga. So so I'm doing the picks. So obviously I'm staying with my bracket no matter what. I can't change my bracket. My bracket is what it is. But for the sake of the conversation yesterday on what teams I picked Kansas State over Michigan State. I picked UConn over Arkansas. I picked Gonzaga over UCLA, and I picked Tennessee over FAU. So I was 3 of 4 yesterday. FAU proved me wrong. I love it. I'm loving every minute of it for Dusty May and the team. And you're right. Nobody can doubt you anymore that's got half a brain. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back momentarily with Bryan Kersey to speak on the calls and non-calls of the tournament here in the NCAA Tournament with the ACC coordinator of men's basketball officiating. Coming up right after this.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond. You can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus, where you will find handcrafted all-natural soy wax candles over 60 cents to freshen up your home. We carry a wide range of locally made items, Salsa Q's, Syracuse Salt, and Chocolate Pizza Company, to name a few. Let our knowledgeable staff help choose unique gifts and keepsakes for any occasion. Gifts for family and friends, and maybe a little something for yourself. Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Cabal Studios. Hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And it is my pleasure, as always, to have truly an incredible guests here on the show. And we've featured, at this point, I have totally lost count, but We've had over 4,000 people on the show, and they have been wonderful, each with their own personality, each with their own story, and so many wonderful things that we've been able to do and stories we've gotten to tell. And I am very proud and very happy, more than anything else, to have a friendship built with Bryan Kersey, who joins me here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, the ACC coordinator of men's basketball officiating and a former NCAA official himself. Bryan and I got to see each other down at the ACC tournament in Greensboro this year. He got to watch the game. I'm talking about being at home, being on YouTube TV, watching picture in picture in picture in picture. He had the screens in front of him. He had the Matrix. So I'm sitting a couple seats over from this man, and I'm thinking, I want to sit like, what can we do next year for the ACC tournament? And I know that Bryan can pull some strings because he was getting some food for some of those kids out there. So I know that Bryan can pull some strings here to put my seat next to his seat, so that whenever something's going on, we can. Because I honestly would rather just sit next to him and be that fly on the wall. To be playing it back, watching him, looking at it, and say, Bryan, what is that? And you'd be like, no, that's the wrong call. That's not what they should have done. They need to do it this. Because they were doing that yesterday, and they call people in and whatnot. And the commentators were saying, we've already figured this out over the call. So we can just, they're like, we're right down the row here. We could just let them know what it is, and we don't know what they're waiting on. But to see the setup that Bryan has, I want to sit next to him, watch it, and just have him in my ear the whole time saying, did you see this? Now look at this. This is why it's a flagrant one, because I'm a student of the game and I love it. So Bryan, two things. Number one, shout out to the seat that the ACC gives you. And number two, can you put me next to you next year? Can you move the cards around?
You have to talk to them. I mean, you got to be careful though, because things get thrown and things get yelled at you while you're sitting in that seat. So especially when you replay things, but it's gotten to the point now with all the media that's out there. I have a TV screen, and I can listen to what TV is saying, and then I have the DV Sports screen, which shows me 8 angles. So I mean, I can rewind, fast forward, get out of there as quick as possible, and hope nobody hits me with anything.
Did you say 8 angles?
8 angles. ACC has an upgraded replay system that our officials use, and they send me that. And on all of our games, it's us and one other league in the country that have this system, and it's great. It's great for our reviews. It shows us one screen that shows everything that's going out to general public on TV, and then it has 7 other views of different angles that we can pull up. We can see a clock, we can see a line, we can get we can zoom in. I mean, it's crazy what our system does, but I mean, it works, and we're fortunate to have it. Our league, backs our sport very, very well, and they've got us this system, and it's crazy. It's just nuts. I can look at it frontwards, backwards, any way you want, sideways.
See,
crazy.
I'm thinking that when these games are going on, like the ACC tournament, I'm thinking that you're outside in a trailer in this like setup thing, almost like you're, staking out something, when they have that truck and they got all the equipment. I'm thinking you're away from everybody, watching all this stuff inside of some control room. You're right there on the sideline looking at these screens and, like you said, getting 8 different angles in the moment. Do you like being immersed in the energy of the room while you're watching it, or would you rather be in a place that's like off to the side somewhere?
No, I think it's best to be in there, because I can see the atmospheric pressure basically of the game. I can see how the coaches are reacting. I can see a whole lot more. I can see how players react after calls are made. I can see body language better of officials when they, I can look at a referee and tell if his body language is bad. He probably thinks he missed it. And the crazy thing is, everything that goes on in a game, during the season, I travel on Mondays, I travel on Sundays, and some Fridays. But on Wednesdays and Saturdays, I sit in my office where I have 6 TVs, and DV Sport has been into my office and wired my TVs with this same system. So I don't get the feel of what's going on in the arena. You have to hear, what the coaches, how they're reacting, if they're in a good moment or a bad moment when plays are going down, if they're going to follow an official down, if they're having conversation. And then, after the game in our tournaments, I have a tablet that goes into the back, the locker room, which people don't even realize that we do. And we have a big screen TV back there. The tablet hooks to that. And we pull up plays and look at them from different angles, plays that I think they missed that we have to relook at, plays that they want to look at, last-second shots, 2s to 3s, flagrant fouls, all of those things come into play, and we go back there and we can look at them. I don't know if you noticed, but I would leave in the last 4 minutes of the half, after the 4-minute media and the 4-minute media of the game, so I could be in the back to see, by then the atmosphere set, the arena of the game, as I call it, is set.
Yeah.
I can go back there and have my tablet back there that still has all the plays. I can still fast forward and rewind. I can hear what TV is saying on these last-second shots, and it just helps. We train all the time. I mean, I don't think people realize the training that goes in with these guys, the video that they watch, but it's nonstop, and I think that's why we have the staff that we have. We have the league support that we have because they know the time that's put in, and we just do it a little different. I think all coordinators on the Power 5 level have their own way of doing it. I do it this way. Mike Eads probably does it a different way. Curtis Shaw does it a different way, and whatever works for us. But the more plays we see, the better we get.
Here with Bryan Kersey here on the show on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, ACC coordinator of men's basketball officiating. Everything you just described opened up so many doors to me. First thing is, do all of the Power 5 conferences, do they have the equipment that you have? Do they have similar means to go about their job, or is the ACC kind of the front runner in what you have at your disposal?
Well, I mean, I think they all do it their own way. The SEC has a replay center that everything goes through, so they get the whatever angles they have. I think us and one other league on the West Coast gets the 8-angle thing that our officials can see in game. So, I mean, it helps. It also helps, like if a coach calls and asks about a play, especially on drives to the basket where I have the camera that's on the baseline, that can see through the play. They may think from the TV feed that they're looking at that the guy got fouled, and I can either say, yeah, he did, or no, he did not get fouled. I can clip that play and send it to him. So it helps us, convey messages back and forth with coaches. It proves us that we were either right or that we were wrong in the plays that we have, and we get better from all of them. But, I think our system that the league has set up for us, especially in game, and what they give me is probably as top of the line as you can get, with the exception of what the NBA gets, I'm sure.
And I mean, do you ever, being a former NCAA official yourself, do you ever get the itch, like you're sitting there, you're on the sideline, and they're, the officials are reviewing the call, and they're looking at it on the screen. Do you ever feel that sensation or that itch to, like, jump out of your seat and run over to them and be like, guys, how can you not see? Like, this is what it is. Like, how can you not see that? What'd you say?
Yeah. Every single time when they've been over there for 30 or 40 seconds, it's time to move on. I want them to get in and get out. I want them to be right, but if I can see it, they can see it. And I'm sitting there going, please, just get out of that. Because the longer you stay over there, the more fans start yelling, the more coaches get frustrated. End of game, the coaches want the timeout, so they're probably setting up a play anyway. But, yeah, there's a lot of times I get the itch to go over there and say something. But, I trust them. There's a big trust factor between myself and them. And I think we have to let them do their job, and they do it very well, as is indicated by how many are working, even this weekend and last.
And I think there was at least one time in the ACC tournament where the call was taking a really long time, and the officials were reviewing it. And like you said, the longer you take, there's a certain window that you have before fans start moaning and groaning and rumbling and bumbling and all that stuff. So if you could go back to that, because I know you just said, yeah, well, I was saying that. What that moment was like specifically in this year's ACC tournament, that there was this play that was taking minutes, and the longer that it took, the more you feel the room change, you feel people get upset, you feel the pressure. I'm sure the officials feel the pressure. What can you say about that? Because I know there was at least one moment where I was sitting there on the sideline going, guys, this is one of those like riot moments where you need to figure it out. So
yeah, I mean, sometimes in moments like what happened in the tournament, they get involved in looking at the actual play.
Yeah.
And then we have to get the clock straight. We have to get the inbound spot straight, and then we lose a shooter. And so in the moment that we had there, we just kept going back instead of, I like them to discuss what they're going to look at and have their checklist so that when they get over there, they go A, B, C, D, and then they get out. And sometimes you get caught up. I mean, I did it as a rep, when I was 2013 or 14 out of Arizona, Wisconsin, out in Anaheim, and was at the monitor for 8 minutes, which seems like an hour, when you're in the moment. And it was a simple out of bounds. Well, it wasn't a simple out of bounds, but it was a tough out of bounds play with 2.5 seconds left in a 2-point game. And, you're sitting there thinking, the ACC tournament, when you had a last second shot, Florida State playing Virginia Tech. And, Virginia Tech wins, they probably go to the tournament. They did not, but they, had a chance. And John Clockety would always tell us, remember, in tournaments, when you're reviewing something, it's $1 million decision or a $10,000 decision. Well, not they're going to the NCAAs or the NITs.
Yeah.
So you have to get it right, but you have to get it right quickly. But you have to know what you're going to look at. And with our system, we don't go over there and have many blank screens anymore. And you got to get over there. And that's the great thing about having standbys. In the tournament, wasn't communicated well with what we wanted to look at that moment, and that's what held us up. And we have to do a better job of that in those situations. And again, something we learn from.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, obviously learning from these things, growing and evolving with it. With you as the ACC coordinator of men's basketball officiating, you're watching these games, you're watching the plays, but you're also watching the officials and you're looking at their track record. How difficult is it for you, having been a former NCAA official, to have to tell someone, hey, you're not going to be moving on here with the ACC tournament, or I'm not going to put your name in for the NCAA tournament? Because I've spoken with Mike Kitts about this too. There's a bracket that goes on behind the scenes. There's this NCAA tournament bracket, and then there's the official bracket. And the officials bracket is, okay, here are all the officials. Here are the ones that, the coordinators of basketball officiating are going to recommend. Here are the ones that make the pool. And now these are the ones in the tournament. And then as each round of the tournament moves on, here's who's going on, here's who's not. So how difficult of a job is that for you to do, to sit somebody down and say, hey, I know you're giving your best. I know you did this, but I'm not going to recommend you to move on, because that behind the scenes bracket is such an imperative connection to the actual bracket, because the hope is the deeper we get into the tournament, the better the officiating becomes.
Agree, and I think it's evolved a long ways in the last 10 years, especially in the last 2 or 3. It used to be you went out there to referee the NCAA tournament with yourself in mind, and you wanted to be successful, and you really thought that the more times you went to the table and reported a foul, they thought you worked harder. And I think that, especially since like Mike Eads has come in as the SEC coordinator, and we work very well with him, and we work very well with Curtis Shaw and Terry Weimer, who is the Big Ten, Curtis is the Big 12, and Johnny Cal and myself. And I think that we've elevated these guys to stop being being individuals and being a crew out there now, being their own team, and having whistles come from the right spots, because those are all magnified because of TV.
Yeah.
You know, TV, social media have exposed some officials for working that way, and we've relayed it to all of our officials that, you know, it will kill you if you try to go out there and referee as an individual. If you think you're getting paid by the whistle, you're not. And I think that since we've all begun working together and relaying the same message to our staffs, that it's helped us. Our leagues have helped that. The Paul Brazos and the Stu Jacksons, the Jeff Jacksons, and the John Williamses out there that are in that level between us and the commissioners of the league have helped us in that, and they've given us that leeway to try and relay those messages. They've given us this training platform with the DV Sport and all of the angles to get us to that point. And I think that's truly helped us. You know, our leagues have committed financially to this, and it's helped us a lot.
And, you know, like
fans may not think so. Fans may not think so, but you know, it's we have less bad moments than we used to. I can promise you that.
Well, you know, and that's the thing, like you said, you know, you don't get paid by the whistle, and some, you know, officials, and I thought that was a great way to say what you said, because it does bring up, you know, the thought process of it, kind of like cops thinking that they get paid by the ticket, right? So the thought of like, I need to blow my whistle or I'm not doing my job. Have you had to kind of teach that out of people to say, hey, you know, there could be games where you're not going to blow this whistle as much, and it doesn't mean that you're doing a bad job. You know, call the play when the play is there. Have you had to kind of reteach or evolve officials in getting them to believe the reality of not getting paid by the whistle?
Well, I think what the teaching process there is make sure the whistles come from the right spots.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want a guy standing out by mid-court calling a foul on a play to the basket. So I think we've alleviated a lot of that stuff happening, and that's helped us because, you know, it's a trust factor now. We've created staffs and given opportunities to officials to see where their whistles are coming from. Training videos that I send out, you know, I send out 8 training videos a year to all officials within our alliance, and they're all voiced over, showing plays that they either got right or they got wrong, but they're all learning aspects. And some of them, you know, are tough on guys to have to watch, but they know it's coming because I've already talked to them about it. And, you know, clocks and all kinds of things that we discuss that try to make us better, to try to make us more aware of what's going on and who is supposed to look at a low post, you know, back down, you know, on plays going to the basket, and plays that start on the wings, whose play is it all the way to the basket, who has a secondary defender. There's a lot of stuff that goes into all of that, but if whistles come from the right spots, our numbers are a whole lot better than if they come from the wrong spots, because if we're looking at closed looks, we have whistles on closed looks, which I think we've gotten a lot better at. What I mean by a closed look is I'm looking at a defender's back, and I can see his number plain as day, and I'm going to say he bumped him in front of him. Well, I can't see that, so I'll ask an official, what did he bump him with, his arm, his body, or what part of his body? And then they'll say, well, I didn't see it, I thought he bumped it. And you know, they learn from all of that.
That coming from Bryan Kersey here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, NCAA official, alum, and ACC coordinator, men's basketball officiating. We talk about some of these calls, like you said. You know, is it a $10 million call or a $10,000 call when you look at, you look at the reality of the NCAA tournament versus going to the NIT? I'm going to throw this one at you because to me, this was the most egregious that I've seen, and maybe you could tell me that there's a different one you saw in the NCAA tournament this year. But, you know, they always say, how many whatever does it take to screw in a light bulb, right? Well, my question is, how many Memphis players does it take to call timeout? Because in that game against FAU, taking nothing from FAU because they played a hell of a game. But the Memphis Tigers with under 10 seconds to go. They're on the ground. They have the ball. There are two players running from opposite sides of an official to the official on his left ear and right ear, screaming timeout. The player's on the ground. I don't know if he was calling timeout too, but he's holding on to the ball. The official looks down at the ball, doesn't look at either player. The commentator said, oh, he probably didn't hear the guys. I'm like, he didn't hear the guys screaming in his face, right next to his face. And so the call is a jump ball because eventually, when the official finally blew his whistle, the ball had been taken up by FAU and Memphis. The possession arrow was to FAU. So with Memphis up by 1, they lose the timeout, they lose possession, and FAU scores with under 3 seconds to play, and they move on by a point. I would love to get your thoughts on that because I watched it in real time and couldn't figure out for the life of myself how timeout wasn't awarded to the Tigers.
Well, I can tell you, I've been in those situations many times when I was on the floor. When somebody is going to the floor or down on the floor, the referees away from it have no idea whether or not he has possession of the ball. The referees on the ball have to be watching him. What if somebody falls, piles onto him? What if somebody grabs him? I mean, you're focused on that situation. And people, I say this all the time, people not in it don't understand it. But, you block out a lot of stuff when you're concentrating on one play. And I think in that situation, I remember the play very well. You're in there trying to figure out, A, does he have control of the ball? And B, is he getting fouled while he's down there? I don't know if the player on the floor called timeout or not. You can open it up and you can watch it on TV and see that players around him are calling it, but you don't see a referee looking at him because they're concentrating on that area of the ball. Like I said, the officials away from it cannot award that timeout because what if that ball is rolling? They can't even see in there because all the players are in there. It's a hard situation to be in. It's easy to do when you watch it on TV. It's very, very easy. But in that situation, I mean, it was, 5 seconds total? Maybe 4, 3 total? I mean, you have to worry about what is presented in front of you. And if somebody's beside you, you don't know if it's the other team calling time. You don't know if it's Florida Atlantic kid calling timeout. And if you look and the kid gets hit down on the ground, then you're in more trouble than you are without giving them a timeout.
So when you go into that situation, and essentially what you described, Bryan, was a blind spot in officiating because the official has to focus on the ball and focus on the action of the ball and the players on the ground. But you said the other officials can't award that timeout. So are we missing something there? Should there be the ability for an official to run in while that one official's looking at the ball for another official to come in and see that the guy's clearly calling timeout, or to be, by Penny Hardaway? Is there a blind spot that we can adjust as we move forward?
I don't know that there is because what happens if the ball squirts out and you're coming in and the kid throws the ball? I mean, how many times have we seen the guys get rid of the ball and then a fast break starts? I just think that's a play that you take as you see it in live action. And I think 90% of the time, I think we do a really good job on that play. It's that other time. It used to be, coaches can call timeout in the last 2 minutes. We got burned on it when coaches would call timeout all of the time because we'd award a timeout and the ball's being passed and then it's stolen. We had a play happen in the ACC a few years back. It was a play at midcourt where they got a trap going on. And we award a timeout, and as soon as we blow the whistle, of course, the other team's got the ball and it's heading the other way. So, I mean, those situations are situations that are, at that moment. And you have to take it as you see it in live action, and these guys have to react. And as soon as you react, as soon as you blow your whistle, and somebody else has the ball, then it's magnified even worse. This is magnified the other way. So, I mean, it's a very, very hard play.
So, going off of a tough decision like we just talked about, I'm going to make it not easier for us to have the next conversation. And so I apologize in advance. That's the difference between a blocking foul and a charge. I feel like, people have fought on this forever. Fans in the stands, react to this all the time. But there's been the reality of the check by an offensive player to kind of bump, put that elbow out, put the arm out, and kind of push somebody off of them to create some separation. And they're creating the contact. And there's been times where the defender, the official seeing that contact and saying, "Oh, okay, that's a blocking foul because here's the contact," but the contact was initiated by the offensive player trying to create space. How difficult is it to go between the offensive to defensive foul, the block charge, and how have we evolved in that world, in your opinion?
That is probably the $1,000,000 question. I think fans think we probably get it wrong. From a coordinator standpoint, I think we've gotten better at it because we allow the guy that's in the lead position, which is the guy on the baseline, to be in charge of secondary defenders. And you have to understand, so we've got a restricted area. You got secondary defenders, you got primary defenders, you got guys now. Our game has evolved to a paint touch dish out play. We've got guys that are bigger and stronger, like the kid last night from Kansas State. I mean, that kid goes to the basket, gets in the paint, had 19 assists, I think, last night. Sometimes he shoots it, sometimes he lets it go. So people also don't understand that restricted area does not apply to primary defenders. So you may have a big guy guarding a big guy down there, and he gets run over. We call it a charging foul, and everybody points to the restricted area. Well, it didn't matter to him at that point. It doesn't matter on rebounds. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. That our rule has gone from a paragraph to a page and a half, and we're getting better at it. It's a 50-50 play a lot of times. These kids are so fast. These kids can stop on dimes. There's, you got the flop in there now, so there's a lot of factors that go into it. But I think, my personal opinion, we've gotten a lot better at it. But we still got a ways to go. And these kids are not getting any slower. They're not getting any weaker. That kid from Kansas State is a tremendous player. I watched him. I was in Greensboro last weekend. I was the one that was the coordinator that was there to evaluate those officials. And I watched him firsthand. It's the first time I've ever seen him play. And it's amazing to watch and if you watch kids in our league, it's crazy. The point guard, look at the two guards at NC State. Look at Isaiah Wong. Look at Judah Mintz, who was at Syracuse. Look at Gerard that was at Syracuse. I mean, it's amazing, what they can do now in the guard position. And they are so daggone quick and so strong now that they can do things that when I was refereeing, some of them, Ty Lawson was the hardest guard I ever had to referee just because he ran the whole game. And I mean, it's amazing to watch what these kids can do, and it's amazing to see the difference in the coaching philosophies that are out there now with paint touches and three-point shots and stuff like that. Because, I mean, Michigan State doesn't get back into the game really or stay in the game without a three-point shot last night. And it ends up costing them in the end.
You look at that, like you said, you see all the things that go into it, and it's the $1,000,000 question, the block charge and which is it. And I feel like you can probably go to every single game played every season and have a call where, people are going to disagree and it's going to be questionable in that world. You said you were getting down in Greensboro, and obviously I was with you for the ACC tournament. You stayed there as Greensboro was one of the host cities for the round of 64 and 32. Were there any plays that you take out from those games in Greensboro where you were tasked to kind of watch the officials and watch what was going on? Is there anything that sticks out to you that was a teachable moment or one of the big officiating moments or two in Greensboro?
I don't single out any plays, I mean, because of, there's so many, there's so many games that go on. I have I keep track of whistles that I want to go back and look at, and I go back and look at them. But, to think of individual plays, they all run together right now, because I was at the Big South tournament for 3 days. Then I was at the ACC tournament for 5 days, and then I flew from there to Brooklyn for the Atlantic 10 tournament, came back to Greensboro and watched, 6 games there. So, I think everything, individual plays, if you were to bring one up, I would probably think about it, but I can't think of one specific play right off.
Let me ask you this about Gonzaga then. Here with Bryan Kersey, the ACC coordinator of men's basketball, officiating on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Gonzaga has been the comeback team, right? This is what they do. They're down by 14, doesn't matter, and this is a team that has found a way. I got to interview the guys last night. Absolutely incredible team. Love the coach. Been a fan of Mark Few for many, many years. As an official, when these games are so close with a team like Gonzaga, because I know you said not a specific play, but let's talk about a team coming back. You got to be really, because you could feel the momentum shifting. You can feel, some things happening when these games are getting close. And it's not just Gonzaga, but I bring them up because they've come back in a bunch of games. But there's teams when they're making those runs and they're coming back, there's certain fouls that are called where, games can get a whole lot closer. How do you think that there's emotion that goes into it? Have you seen officials get lost in the mix of this at times? When a team is making a run, the momentum is shifting, the room is shifting. How difficult is it to call down the stretch when a team is coming back and knowing that if you call a foul, that these free throws could be the difference in a team having a lead, the other team taking the lead, a tie game? Because a lot of these games that have come down to the wire, it's do you call the foul, do you not call the foul? And so that Gonzaga comes up to me because, Gonzaga in these last 2 games especially have made these runs and they've gotten on the line for part of it.
Well, I think that, I think if you look at, I tell referees all the time at halftime, if I'm in the locker room or if I'm having a teaching moment at a camp or something like that, if you go into a game that's a 13, 15-point game at halftime, 9 times out of 10, the first 4 minutes will dictate how the second half is going to go. And one of the 2 teams is going to make a run. Either it's going to be over with by 16 minutes or have a very good chance of being over with by 16 minutes, or it's going to be a 5-point game. Yeah. And I think that's what we have seen with Gonzaga. I think, you have close games that start the second half the exact same way. I think referees live for that moment. I think every referee wants games like the Gonzaga-UCLA game last night, and every Gonzaga-UCLA game that's been played probably for the past 5 years in this tournament. If you look at the greatest game ever was, 2021, when they played in the national semifinal. Yeah. And not the great, I'm sure Christian Laettner in the Kentucky game years ago, but if you think about that game, all these games are games of runs, and I think that referees get put in a situation where you have to be refereeing at a very high level. I don't think Gonzaga missed free throws. They missed 3 of their last 4 of their last 6, whatever it was, in that game last night. And I think if you probably look, I'll always look at offensive rebounds. You look at offensive rebounds in a game, games that have a variety, different free throw margins in games. And you look at somebody and they've got 5 offensive rebounds in a game or 4 offensive rebounds in a game. That usually means that there's a discrepancy maybe in free throws. And I think when you have that, I think everybody last night thought Drew Timme was going to take the last shot. And there was no doubt in my mind as they were playing it and they started coming up the floor with the pace that they came up the floor in, that something was going to happen quick, and it did. And, kids still have to make shots. Referees have to make decisions. And, they say all the time, referees don't be the reason that the game is decided. Well, sometimes fouls decide games. Sometimes, somebody gets away from somebody. And, last night was a prime example of a team that dominated rebounding.
Yeah.
I think Gonzaga dominated. I don't know what the difference was, but I can guarantee you that they probably got twice as many offensive rebounds, which creates you think about rebounds, they're congested plays at the basket that either go right back up or get dished out to a guard who either shoots it or he takes it to the basket and does something with it. And I think that, I don't think people look at that. I look at that's a huge statistic in my mind is rebounding, and offensive rebounds especially.
Yeah, and you look at it, you made mention of it. Gonzaga had 16 offensive rebounds last night to 7 from UCLA. So, out-rebounded them heavily, almost double. And, and it's got me thinking this conversation, and before I let you go, Bryan, because I know you've given us a ton of information. I appreciate it so much.
Let me give you one other stat. I had a game this year that had 91 rebounds in the game. 91 total rebounds in the game.
Yeah.
Games like that are impossible to officiate. That's 91 missed shots.
Yeah. yeah. And so I'm going to bring you to a game last night. Now, granted, FAU was up by multiple possessions, so they were up. But Tennessee, go back and and I'm sure you have, but you go back and you watch that game. I saw at least 2 Tennessee players travel. I saw a ton of things. I saw travels. I saw, and when Tennessee had the ball and they jumped up in the air to get the offensive rebound and punched it back, the Tennessee player punched it over the line. The Tennessee player went and got it. That's over the back and over and back. And so no over back call was. It's not over and back?
It's not over and back. You can tap a rebound back to think of Virginia.
Okay.
Think of Virginia when they got to the national championship against Purdue.
Okay.
Okay.
Because this is where I get
confused. Ball in the backcourt.
Yeah.
And you can go get it. There's no possession. Still, you can tap it all the way back there, and you get 30 seconds. You catch it in the backcourt. So you get to come back up. That's not backcourt.
Okay. Because that's one where I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, ball came off the rim, Tennessee player hits it with his hand, punches it back, and Tennessee player goes to chase it down. In my head, I'm going, I'm not 100% sure what this is, but it looked like the officials were kind of just like, let them play, because I did see what looked to be potentially some traveling, but they were letting them kind of just get the shots up and go. Do you think at the end of the game, when a team is up by 9 or up by 7 or something like that, is there a reality that officials will maybe be a little bit more loose on those final 15 seconds or 12 seconds? Because it seemed like Tennessee potentially could have gotten called for a travel or 2, but nothing was called as they got up like 3 or 4 shots. Is there a reality that sometimes at the end of the game, when it's not a one possession game, that there's a more looser whistle?
I don't think we get looser at all. I think that plays happen. People have to understand you can lift the pivot foot, but you don't travel until it comes back down. If you think of a layup, you take your first step down is your pivot foot, and you lift it, to take the layup. So I think that people come through the lane, and that happens, and the foot doesn't come back down. Everybody thinks he traveled because that foot comes back up. But I don't think we get looser. I think we get more zoned in. I think referees don't want to be wrong. They cannot win in any situation because of the media that we have and the TV exposure that we have. So I don't think we get looser at all in those moments.
I'm learning so much from you.
May disagree.
No, and listen, I appreciate it. I bring it up because I'm seeing it through my eyes with no dog in the race, saying, okay, this is what I'm seeing. Tell me if I'm right or wrong, because I think the reason why there's a demise in society is that people are not willing to say their opinion and be wrong. I'm always willing to learn. I just said to you, hey, I thought this was over and back. You said it's not. well, you taught me something, Brian, and I think if you stop learning and you stop growing, if you're that old dog that doesn't learn new tricks, then that's where society gets pretty bad.
Could not agree with you more, and I think that's something that we discuss every week with all of our officials. Is when the moment comes, you got to teach, you got to learn, you got to help somebody every single game you go out there and. We've put a lot of new referees in games. You see some faces you don't see. You saw them at the tournament. Jamel Spearman is a prime example of somebody that's been in my system, since I got the job. And this year was his first ACC. Jeff Pond, who's from Florida, was another one. Justin Porterfield. Y'all know Roger. Y'all know Teddy. Y'all know Ron Gruber. Y'all know Lee Cassell, Bert Smith, Jamie Lucky. Everybody knows them. But then you get these other guys that come in there because they have fought through our system. Our alliance is so good at training less experienced officials to get them ready for the moment. Last night was A.J. Desai's first game in the NCAA regionals, and he had the Florida Atlantic game last night and did a tremendous job. But you have to get them ready for that moment so that when they get out there, they're prepared and it does not ruin their career.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, all these teachable moments in this growth, in this learning, is there, when you said you got to be ready for the moment, before I let you go here, two final pieces. One of them is why, I don't think people know that Bryan Kersey is Santa Claus in a way. And we'll talk about that in a second, because I don't think that he thought that I saw it, but I saw it. And it was a beautiful thing that he did, and it shows me, we talk about the demise of society, there's also the uplifting of society, and Bryan was a true example of that, and I can appreciate it. So before we go there, is there a more difficult call, and you can argue yes or no, whatever you want to say, but at the end of the game, in a one-possession game, it's 3 points, it's 1 point, it's 2, whatever it may be, toward the end of the game, 12 seconds on the clock, team's up by 1, ball goes out of bounds, we got to figure out whose fingernail touched it. Is there a more difficult call at the end of the game for an officiating crew than who has possession of the ball in a one-possession game?
I don't think so. I don't think that. And look at the three-point shot last night that the kid from Kansas State took that went off of the kid's fingertips.
Yeah.
Ended up coming up short and going out of bounds. That right there is a perfect example of plays like that. In the Florida Atlantic game at midcourt, when the ball went off of one guy's leg and then bounced out of bounds and then hit the other player's leg with like 4 seconds left last night.
Yeah.
They're impossible. They're so hard live. The crazy thing is we got both of those correct, and the replay showed we got it correct. But out of bounds, I think all line plays are hard. And out of bounds is a line play. And restricted area, line play. 3-point jump shot fouls are line plays. And I think that our concentration has to be up and escalated on all of those plays.
No, I couldn't agree more. And you brought up the plays I was thinking about. And so, definitely from last night. And so now with the Santa Claus part of things, Brian, you pick somebody in the stand there, and we know, and this is, I want to say something about Greensboro, and I'm sure you can appreciate this too. Greensboro, because I know the ACC tournament, it's been in Charlotte, I've been there, it's been in Washington, D.C., it's been in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, so I know what it's like to be in these 4 locations. I love Greensboro. I am on record of saying repeatedly I love it. Why? Because I think the people at the airport are nice, because I think that the community is nice, because the food is good, because y'all have Zaxby's and we don't, because, and there's so many great things about Greensboro. I love that I can pull up to the arena, park, and walk a couple steps and go right inside. It's got a small town feel to it, even though it's a great arena. It's just a beautiful atmosphere. There's not crazy traffic, even though there's a lot of people there. There's open roads. There's nice weather. And on top of all of that, I would argue that Greensboro has the best snacks of any tournament that I've been to. So you not only got the best snacks, but you were paying it forward and making sure this kid was fed and that his dad didn't have to spend crazy money. Why are you the way that you are, and why do you do the things that you do? because I saw a pay it forward kindness that I'm not surprised in you, Bryan, but when I saw it, yeah, most people are paying attention to the game. I was paying attention to those conversations and those moments of saying, all right, this is what you had in the first half. What do you want for the second half? This is what we got in the back. Why are you the way that you are?
And we've had this discussion numerous times. I'm a stickler for kids. I love my two granddaughters more than I love my own life. These kids are everything. And the young man that was sitting, behind us at the tournament, his eyes were lit up just because he was there. It's a moment with his dad that he'll never forget. And I didn't want him to miss anything. So I saw him sitting there. I sugared him up. I brought him a Snickers bar. I asked him what he wanted, chips. He wanted Gatorade. I think he had 3 different Gatorades. If you remember, he had a ring around his mouth of different colored Gatorades. And the great thing is, I got a great email from his dad. He just took a chance that it was my email address, and because mine's not posted out there anywhere, so he just took a chance using initials that it was mine, and he sent me an unbelievable. The young man probably still hasn't been asleep yet. But I love kids, I do, and I have a soft spot for them, and to see them at events with 20,000 people sitting there, and he's never been there, and his dad got him great seats. He's on the first row.
Yeah.
And that young man will never forget those games he sat through. And if I could make his day better, then that's what I wanted to do. And I probably made his day, his night. He probably saw the sun come up the next morning because he was still awake. But he just lit up, and it was so much fun.
Well, that coming from Bryan Kersey here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, NCAA official, alum, and ACC coordinator of men's basketball officiating, bringing us into the tournament, bringing us into basketball officiating, and more than anything else, being good to other people and paying it forward. Bryan, I know it's been a minute since we've gotten to do this, but I look forward to doing more of it. I look forward to our on-the-air, but also our off-the-air conversations, and I'm not saying this to butter you up in any way, shape, or form. I'm happy I got to see you down in Greensboro, and I still remember our conversation at the Hotel Syracuse, and you got me snacks that day. You brought me up to the VIP lounge, and you're like, we're not going to meet here. He goes, I stay at this hotel. He's like, we're going up to the VIP lounge, and I said, well, what can I get? You get whatever you want. You want more stuff? I'll ask him. So,
Exactly right.
I will tell you.
Man, I appreciate what you do for our game.
Well, I appreciate you on and off the air, Bryan, and, I appreciate our connection and our friendship, and I just want you to know that, I very much value. You go to these tournaments and you do a lot of things, and you're one of the faces I always hope I get to come across and get to talk to for a few minutes. So I know you're a humble guy and a hardworking guy, but, I feel like in this world now more than ever, we need to tell the good ones that they're good and appreciate them. So I do appreciate our time, and I appreciate, when we get to meet up. So hopefully we get to do more of these soon, because my Bryan Kersey, my gas tank was getting empty. All right. And so we can't let that happen again.
All right. If you need anything, please let me know. I appreciate you very much.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Okay,
take care.
Bye-bye.
See you. That coming from Bryan Kersey here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. I always appreciate you being here, and thank you so much for being with us on the broadcast on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're going to take a final step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we'll wrap up this week, and we'll get you ready for the rest of the Sweet 16. You thought last night was crazy? Oh, word? It's about to get nuts. I am so excited for what's coming up. This is arguably could be my favorite time of year next to my birthday and Christmas. So I am such a fan of college basketball. I'm such a fan of basketball. I played it my whole life. I love this game, love this game, love this game, love this game. And so many great things have happened this year. God is great, and it's only going to get greater. So I'm really excited about what's coming up and can't wait to share it with you. So we will talk about the games that are on the way right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Rd in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. They can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general, I think is really the secret sauce.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. Appreciate you being here with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, as we have gone past 11 this morning with a fantastic conversation with Bryan Kersey of the ACC coordinator of men's basketball officiating and a former NCAA official himself. So a lot of great stuff, fantastic conversation. Appreciate everything we got to do on today's show. Inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. To lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver is the acronym, speaking on what makes you smile. Think about that today, and then smile about it. That coming from Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, the top dog of the week. And my top dogs of the week, proudly presented by K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding, both located in East Syracuse, right off of Bridge Street, across from BJ's. You can find the daycare right there on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse. And down the road, the Kampground Dog Boarding for longer-term dog care is on 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse. So make sure you get in touch with them. The daycare is 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110. And the campground is 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Call them up. There is no better place to bring your dog. Outside of loving them up yourself, they love them up pretty darn well at K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding. I trust them with my Lily. And anybody that knows me knows that there is a tiny, tiny list of people I trust with Lily. And K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding, they're fantastic. And I love them so very much for the work that they do. So make sure you get in touch with them today. Let them know that Wake Up Call sent you. Top dog of the week, we honored Marquise Noel of Kansas State. We honored Gonzaga as in their comeback ways and Julian Struthers' shot, as well as the pass and everything to set it up, and Mark Few drawing up the play. A big-time honor as well to the UConn Huskies and Dan Hurley and everything that he's done with that program over these last 5 seasons. And then to give some love and respect as well to FAU, who said, "You cannot doubt us anymore." They have won their first ever NCAA tournament game, first Sweet 16, first Elite 8 appearance, all in the same season. Since becoming a team in the 90s for Division I, since becoming a Division I men's basketball program in the 90s, they've only been to the NCAA tournament twice, and they got their first win this year, and now they're one step away from the Final Four. Insane, awesome, incredible, big-time shout-out and much love to all of our top dogs, including FAU on their just a beautiful run. Because you think about it, UConn's had history, right? Gonzaga's had history. And, you know, you look at Kansas State. I mean, really, Kansas State and FAU, whoever wins, we win. Because, you know, there's not a ton of history, especially in the here and now, of these teams being the representation. Normally it's Kansas out of the Big 12 and out of Conference USA. They don't get respect at all. And for FAU to do what they've done this year, for Kansas State to do what they've done, and just that awesome moment that Marquise Noel has to run down the court and say, "This is my city." That is a chill moment. I'm getting chills talking about it right now because I know what that feels like, and I have the excitement and the want and the vision to be able to do that someday and how I'm going to do it. So shout out to Marquise Noel and the fact that he got to do it. So God bless to him for that, and God bless to the moment that I get to do it. So much love to our top dogs of the week. Talking about the NCAA tournament in general, and of course Bryan Kersey. Just love having him on the show. NCAA official alum and ACC coordinator of men's basketball officiating. Fantastic person, always warm and open to me in conversation. I love the friendship that we're building and we have built and I love his time on the show. So shout out to Bryan Kersey, and just, time well spent, I'll say. With that being said, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back on Monday, and Andrea Smith is going to be joining me for Two Mics No Filter this coming Monday. Excited about that. Brendan Murphy, he'll be joining us here very soon, as well as Ross Turetsky. We're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff. We have another show within a show that's going to be coming, a wake-up call, another segment that you do not want to miss. I am outrageously excited. I shouldn't say outrageous. That's not the right word. I'm overly, abundantly, stupendously, supercalifragilistically excited about what's coming. So stay close for that. A lot of great stuff coming up next week on the show. YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, live around the world on Facebook.com as well. Facebook.com /LiveNowDT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. Once the shows go live, you can find us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, TuneIn, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and more. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on your favorite podcasting platform, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. You can also ask your Alexa or Google Home device to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they'll be more than happy to do that for you anywhere in the world. Big shout out to all of our incredible partners that are here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We want to thank Carvel DeWitt, as well as Cafe Kubal, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Witty Wicks, Avicoli's, PB&J's Lunchbox, Chick-fil-A Watertown, K9 Camp Dog Daycare, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, and maandpa'spopcorn.com. We want to thank Mother's Cupboard, where my Cuse McMother sandwich is available every single day of the week. It has been incredible. It's now been there. I can't believe it. It's been officially over a month that the sandwich has been on the menu. The Cuse McMother, my spin on the breakfast sandwich, bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 French toast pieces. You can cut it up and eat it with syrup, or you can pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. Cinnamon sugar, a little bit of that powdered sugar on the top. Just awesome. Awesome breakfast. I had it yesterday when I was there with Jason Leone. So make sure and get it. You can get it at any hour that Mother's Cupboard's open. So you can get it for breakfast or lunch, 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. daily, exclusively at Mother's Cupboard, 3709 James Street in Syracuse. The Cuse McMother is my sandwich. Go out and get it today. Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Great Lakes, Honda City, 317 at Montgomery Street. The name of the location is the name of the restaurant. 317 at Montgomery Street is the exclusive home of Downtown with Dan, my video series every single month where I showcase what 317 is all about with owner Joel Carpenter. I get to taste test things on the menu, and as we taste test, we have conversations. The most recent conversation in Downtown with Dan focuses on the NCAA Tournament, focuses on sports, focuses on entertainment and movies, as well as thanking you for Syracuse Dining Weeks and giving 317 at Montgomery Street their best Syracuse Dining Weeks ever in their history. And on top of all of that, trying things on the lunch and dinner menu. So we get to talk with each other while I try the food. You get to see the food, and then if you come in, you get to taste the food. 317 at Montgomery Street. Make a reservation today, 315-214-4267. That's 315-214-4267. Open Tuesday through Friday for lunch and dinner, and then on Saturday open for dinner. Make sure you call them and make a reservation because you do not want to miss out on their incredible food and their incredible experience. I call it the Michelin restaurant here in Syracuse, and I love it so very much. K9 Kampground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, where we were last night to celebrate the incredible season of the girls bowling team at Baldwinsville. The Baldwinsville Bees girls bowling team, New York State champions for the first time ever, and they will carry that banner for the rest of their lives and for the rest of time, as they are the first to ever bring a championship bowling banner back to the Baldwinsville Bees. That's a lot of bees, and it should be, because the bees are awesome. We're also proud to be the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Wake Up Call, the Dolphins are having unprecedented, consistent coverage throughout the year with all of their sports. Unlike it's ever happened before, because it's never happened before, to do what we get to do with the Lemoyne College Dolphins. Every Wednesday at 9 a.m., we call it Dolphin Time here on Wake Up Call. Every first and third Wednesday of each month at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we feature AD and DT new episodes with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. We'll have one for you this coming week. And, of course, the Dolphin Dive every second and fourth Wednesday, diving into the stories of student-athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. And we just had a conversation with men's and women's tennis head coach Jeff Lonzak. Don't miss that, as you can check it out on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe for all of our Lemoyne content on our Wake Up Call channel on YouTube. And, of course, you go to Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com. That's wakeupcalldt.com. Click on the Lemoyne tab. We update that consistently throughout the year, and you'll be able to see all of our content, including our exclusive video series on realignment and reclassification as Lemoyne eyes a potential move to Division I. You have sit-down conversations for many months with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and President Dr. Linda Lemura. For all of that content, once again, go to wakeupcalldt.com, click on Lemoyne, and you can go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. To learn more about your Dolphins, go to LemoyneDolphins.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. The Bobcats coming to you every single month on Wake Up Call with unprecedented coverage, a spotlight on all of their teams, all of their programs, their student athletes, their coaches, having a fantastic time getting to know them. And as I get to know them, so do you in our Bobcat Buzz specials, as we've spoken with national championship teams, as well as teams that have gotten to the national championship and teams that are in their inaugural season, like the baseball team, that there's never been a Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse baseball team. There now is, and we get to chronicle the story of Sean Peak and his team as they go and make history this season in their inaugural season. There's only one inaugural season, and I'm so grateful, and I love the fact that I get to be a part of it. So big shout out to that, to esports, to everything going on, and everything we've gotten to do to expand beyond sports with the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse in our Bobcat Buzz exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. You can check out all of our content with the Bobcats. It gets updated throughout the year on the BSC Syracuse tab on wakeupcalldt.com. Bookmark it, save it, love it. And you can also share it, and then you can go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, click subscribe, and search Bobcat Buzz for all of our content with your Bobcats of Syracuse. A fantastic secret that's no longer a secret, thanks to all the work that we get to do with the terrific team at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. For more information on Bobcats, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. I want to thank you all for an incredible week. This week has been so much fun. From Brendan Murphy to continuing the drive with Ross Turetsky to being able to have Mike Kitts on the show and Bryan Kersey on the show to talk about officiating in the NCAA Tournament and beyond, and just college basketball officiating in general, and just good human beings, to being able to bring you the ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicoli's, to having our special with Landon Spencer, who's going to Alfred University to play football for the Saxons after winning a sectional title with West Genesee, and his teammate winning the sectional title with him this year, offensive lineman Derek Deshaw of West Genny, going to Buff State to continue his football career with the Bengals, to Papa Joe coming on the show, and to having made history with having father and son on the same screen together as we got to share the story of Duke and Riley Pettijohn. Duke, who played for Syracuse at defensive end, went on to go to the NFL, and his son Riley, who's got a ton of offers with 2 years to go still in his recruitment, one of those offers being Syracuse, so we got to do a legacy spotlight with them. To the annoying moment of the week today, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. To lead, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. Top dog of the week was made easy. Somebody from each of the 4 games that we saw in the first half of the Sweet 16. And a big shout out to our top dogs of the week from Canine Kampground and Canine Camp Dog Daycare of East Syracuse. This has been a wonderful week of shows. I cannot thank you enough. It has been my pleasure. It has been my honor. It has been my privilege to do our bonus show with the girls bowling team, bringing the first ever New York State title to the Baldwinsville Bees, and to have that in the community at Pizza Man last night, where we have Baldwinsville Bee events all throughout the year. This week has been wonderful to being a guest again on Chris Heidel's Herb FM radio show, to all the coaches and players that I've gotten to talk with in the NCAA tournament by the good graces of the NCAA tournament and their athletic communications staff. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak with teams from all over the country. I've aired a bunch of the interviews, and I'm going to be airing more today after the show. But up here on all of our social media and on YouTube right now, you can connect with them and see this. So I've had the opportunity to speak with Eric Musselman once again from the Arkansas Razorbacks, their head coach. I had the opportunity to ask a couple questions to Jordan Hawkins of the UConn Huskies, and I finally got to speak with UConn Huskies head coach Dan Hurley after speaking with his brother Bobby Hurley of Arizona State earlier on in the NCAA tournament. I have interviews with Tennessee and Gonzaga that are going to be airing today, and just I can't honestly thank God enough. I can't thank my parents enough. I can't thank my grandparents enough. I can't thank my dogs, Mordu, Cinnamon, Shady, and Lily enough. I can't thank my friends and my supporters enough, the businesses that believe in me, the people that believe in me, those of you that watch and listen and read that believe in the show and believe in what we do with Dan Tortora Broadcast Media in general, those that help me, John Granquist, who helped me, create new logos and enhance everything that I'm doing with my company and all of the shows, to East Coast Specialties, who's working on our apparel and building a website where you could go and buy apparel and have it sent to you from Wake Up Call, from Superpowered Pop, from Do Diz with Dan, from Comic Book Trails, from our company corporate logo, the Dan Tortora Broadcast Media logo. So to everything that we've had, to all the people, to all the memories, to going to the NCAA tournament this past weekend with my dad for the first time ever, I don't have words. I mean, this has been a week in my life, and if this week was the only week I ever got to live, I got to go to the NCAA tournament with my dad. I got to interview teams all over the country. I got to have fantastic guests. I've gotten to talk with people that I consider great and close friends that I love dearly. I have gotten to build new bonds with amazing people, continue bonds with amazing people, eat great food, and lay with my dog and watch the games. I'm living the life that I wanted to live, and then some. And I've just gotten started. So, and I had a doctor tell me to go on vacation as my prescription. So I love my life. I love the people in it, and I'm grateful for you watching and listening. So thank you for that. With that being said, find us on social media. I'm going to be doing interviews. I've posted stuff. I'm covering the tournament all weekend. I've already posted on Twitter the polls for who you're picking to win the games tonight for the Sweet 16. So don't miss out. People have started voting already in the polling. So there's polls on Twitter at CallDT. That's CALLDT. Join Twitter. Get on there. Vote in the polls. They're all up there. So go to Twitter. Go to at CallDT. Click follow and vote my polls. And so right now, between San Diego State and Alabama Crimson and the Alabama team here, we have San Diego State Aztecs, Alabama Crimson Tide. I asked you who you're picking. 54.5% are saying Alabama, 45.5% are saying San Diego. That poll had been tied all the way up to this moment. As far as the Miami Hurricanes Houston Cougars game, 66.7% of you have picked Miami to win. 33.3% are with me, picked Houston. And no offense to Miami, I think Miami's a great team, but let's remember my napkin here that I wrote on before the tournament even started that says Houston no matter what. So I'm going with Houston, and 33% of you in the early polling are agreeing with me. The Princeton Tigers Creighton Blue Jays game, whoever wins in this one, we win, because I don't think a lot of people thought Creighton, and they don't get appreciated and respected despite being in the Big East. and Princeton hasn't gotten any respect. You know, I shouldn't say they've gotten respect from people that love them and appreciate them. So I shouldn't say they haven't gotten any respect, but I don't think they've gotten enough, is what I should say. But they're getting it in my poll. 72.7% of you have picked Princeton to win tonight. 27.3% have picked Creighton. The only poll that's 100% in one direction is Xavier Musketeers versus Texas Longhorns. In early polling, 100% of you have picked Texas. So we shall see. Vote in the polls on Twitter. That's at CallDT, CALLDT. Follow us there. Follow us on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT. Follow us on Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. And I write on my story pretty much daily some positive messages to you from me to you. So go on to Instagram if you want some positivity in your life. And who doesn't want a little bit more? And you can never have enough. So find us on all of our social medias. Go to Monpause, because you're going to see movies, you're going to watch Netflix, you're going to watch Disney Plus, you're going to binge watch and catch up on shows, you're going to watch Ted Lasso, you're going to watch The Mandalorian, whatever it may be. You're going to get on there and do it. Do it with the best snacks in the community. And when you're watching the NCAA tournament, there's no better way to watch it than with Monpause. Go there now, 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Buy any one of their tin sizes, and you get half-price refills for the rest of your life. I got my tin. Go and get yours today. 201 Old 7th North Street, Liverpool, New York. Ma and Pa's, the best place for snacks. And with that being said, God bless.